Hi my loves, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a very spontaneous video, probably the most spontaneous video that I have ever done, but I finally feel confident enough to share my experience with you guys, and maybe I could help some of you out if you're going through similar things that I went through. So this is not plastic surgery. I did not get anything done on my face, on my body, nothing like that. So just a fair warning, don't worry. The procedure that I got done is the removal of my hole from my lip piercing, and I believe the medical term, like the exact term of it, is called a scar revision. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on any like medical things that I'm talking about because I'm not a professional. This is just from my experience. Alright, so let's jump into everything from the beginning. So you guys know, if you watch my old videos and all that, that I had my lip pierced, my top Monroe, whatever you want to call it. So I got that done for my 15th birthday. So almost 5 years ago at this point. I can't believe how fast time goes by, but almost 5 years ago, and I begged my parents for this piercing. Like, I wanted it so bad. From the time that I was like 13, 14 years old, I was going on Google Images, looking up different girls with this piercing, and I was just in love with it. Like, I just thought it was so cute, and I wanted it so bad, and my parents obviously said, you're too young, you can't have that, you know, you're gonna ruin your face, you're gonna have scars, you're gonna have a hole in your face, all this different stuff, and I was just like, yeah, right, like, it's just a piercing. I always thought to myself that if anything, if I did remove it, that the hole would be really tiny and it would be like, you know, you wouldn't even be able to notice it, kind of like your ears, but that was not the case. So my 15th birthday came, they finally caved in and just let me get it done, but they're like, you know, you're gonna regret it, and I was like, no, I'm not, it's not a big deal, but little did I know. So when I got it done at first, I loved it. I really loved the piercing. I was like taking pictures, putting them on Facebook, you know, I was just having fun with it because I really loved the piercing. So come my senior year of high school, I was 18 years old, and I was just sick of this piercing. I was so tired of it because I was constantly playing with it. If you have a piercing, you know, like the ball at the top, I was like unscrewing it, screwing it back on. I was like taking the like metal part of it, of like the back of the bar of the piercing, and I was like grinding it on my teeth. I was like playing with it, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have piercings, you get my drift. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, you probably think I'm crazy. But basically, I was just so like fidgety with it all the time, and it was so annoying, and I couldn't help it. It was a very bad habit, and I know you're probably thinking like, okay, just stop playing with it, it's not that big of a deal. It was just one of those habits that I just could not break. Like, I'd be in school playing with it, I'd be at home watching a movie playing with it, you know what I mean? So it was really annoying, and this habit of mine became really expensive because the little piece of jewelry is so tiny that sometimes I would play with it and it would just fall, and I couldn't find it, so I'd have to go out to my mall, to like the piercing place, and buy new jewelry, and it becomes really expensive. You guys know, if you have piercings, not only was this habit becoming really expensive, but the hole around my lip was just stretching and stretching, and it was becoming really big and just really ugly looking. Like, it was just not even cute at all at this point. Another thing that made me really insecure is that if sometimes I was playing with my piercing too much, and like it would, like the piece of jewelry would fall when I was at school, I would have no piercing for the day. So I would literally have the scar or the hole all day, and like my friends would be like, what is that? Oh my god, what's on your lip? So that made me feel even more insecure because I knew that they were like pointing it out and that they could see it and that it was very noticeable. So I knew I had to do something to remove this because it was very noticeable, and it just made me feel like very down about my appearance for a long time. So I began to Google different ways to remove my piercing hole, and obviously you cannot remove a hole. Like, once you put a hole in your body, it's gonna be there forever. Like, you just can't remove it. Even if the hole itself closes, the actual hole is still gonna be noticeable. Do you know what I mean? There's different things that you could do to kind of like minimize like scarring or any discoloration that you have. You can use like vitamin E oil. There's different creams at the drugstore like Mederma, things like that. That's what I found when I was Googling stuff. So I was really disappointed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to live with this hole for the rest of my life, and if not that, I'm gonna have to have a piercing on my face for the rest of my life, and I don't want that. Especially when I'm going to college or when I'm getting a job one day. Like, you know, usually you have to take those things out, and if I take it out, I'm gonna have a huge hole in my face. I'll insert a picture of what the hole on my face looked like. This picture is not as bad as other times because I believe in this picture I didn't have the piercing in for like 1 or 2 days. Like, it was like over the weekend, but if I was playing with it all day and then I took it out, you could see the hole was definitely a lot bigger and stretched out. But in this picture, I don't think it's that bad, but it's still bad because it's still a hole on your face. You know, you can't put makeup on a hole, but you can put makeup on a scar, which sucks. Another bad thing about Googling things is that you sometimes get into these websites that give you this information that makes you more scared than you were from the beginning. Like, you know, when you have symptoms of like a cold or something like that, and then you go on Google and you literally have like this really bad, rare condition. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes Googling things like this is just not the best idea because they start putting things in your mind that you think you have or you think you're going to get, and it's really scary. I remember coming across this website that mentioned something that the more you play with the metal on the piercing, or the longer you have it in, like if you have it in for so many years, that you can end up getting like your teeth messed up or like your gums messed up, like all this crazy stuff. And I was just like freaking out at that point. I was like, okay, I need to remove this piercing ASAP. Like, I do not want this anymore, but I need to do something about this hole on my face. So that's what was the frustrating part about it. So I remember coming across this YouTube video, which I'll leave linked below because I give all credit to that video for even introducing me to this procedure, because I'm so grateful that I found it, because it's just a lifesaver, honestly. So I'll leave it below. It's awesome because the girl actually shows like her experience and like videos of her with like the stitches on her face and like kind of like the before and after pictures. So I'll leave that linked below if you want to check it out. So the girl had the exact same problem that I did, the big hole on her face. And basically what she mentioned, that this procedure is when the doctor goes in and closes the hole for you. Now, she lived in Canada and the procedure cost her, I believe, $120 or something like that. So I was like, yeah, like the procedure is going to be really, really cheap. I'm going to be able to get it done. So as I was Googling my doctors around my area, the procedure is about, they were saying like $1,300 to $3,000. I was like, literally my mouth dropped. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this done because I don't have that money laying around. And if I tell my parents about that, they're gonna be so pissed because they're the ones that told me not to get it in the first place. So I was just in a really bad position at this point, and I was so lost and I didn't know what to do. By the way, the doctors that do this procedure are basically like family doctors who do cosmetic procedures, oral surgeons, some of them might do it, or like a dermatologist. You really just have to like look around. So I was calling around different places and I was just like I don't really know any doctors who I would even trust to do this, because I've never like had a dermatologist or anyone work on my face, and I was like, this is gonna be crazy. Like, I don't want to have a really crazy scar on my face either. So I was kind of just in a really weird position. So I came across my oral surgeon, who I was looking on their website and I saw that they did cosmetic procedures. So I was really excited because my oral surgeon is amazing. I wish I could tell you guys the name, but you would literally know where I live. But he's awesome, and he actually removed my wisdom teeth a few years ago, and he did an amazing job. So I was really excited to see that he was doing cosmetic procedures as well. So what the doctor told me he was going to do was stretch the hole on my lip out more and remove the extra scar tissue and then stitch it back up with stitches. So I was like, okay, that sounds really painful, but he said the process is really quick and they don't have to put me to sleep. I was really happy about that because the thought of being put under, it just makes me so anxious. So after the appointment, I remember like a week later, I had my appointment. I was really nervous because I had never even heard of this being done. I was just going off of some research that I did, and I was going off of that video that I saw. So I was really, really nervous. But the doctor was really nice. He was great about it. So they didn't have to put me to sleep, which was great, and basically all they did was numb my lips. So for example, if you were to go get this done, they would just numb the area on your face and then just do it right there, which is awesome because it made me feel a lot more comfortable. So I literally saw him remove that piece of skin, like the scar tissue, I guess, out of my lip. It was literally as big as my finger, like this big. He was just pulling it out, and it was just so gross. I was like, I cannot believe that's coming out of my mouth. And then when he was done, he just stitched it back up, and then that was it. The procedure takes about 20 to 30 minutes max. It's very, very quick. And I had to leave my stitches in for a week on my face. I'll insert a picture of what it looks like. I know it's really gross, kind of graphic if you don't like things like that, but that was how my lip looked the next morning when I woke up. So as the days went by, my lip became a little less swollen. There was also some bruising throughout the days, like purple, green bruising, just when something is healing. So it was really normal. So my doctor did a really great job. And when he removed the stitches, there was a little scar. It was almost like a really tiny indentation on the top of my lip, but it was so easy to cover up. And it was red for about 3 to 4 weeks at that point, but it was just like a little red dot on my face. It was nothing crazy. I could cover it up with makeup really easily, and it was a lot better than having a hole on my face. So I was just overall really happy with this procedure, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get it done. Another thing that he told me he could have done for me was put a laser over top of it a few times just to kind of smooth it out. He said that some of patients that he had before, sometimes when he did procedures like that, that it would be a little bit like a rough surface on the area. Mine isn't rough at all. It feels very soft, a very faint scar, like you can't even tell at all. And at this point, it's been almost 2 years, so it's completely faded. And I never got any laser treatments on it because I just didn't really think it was necessary. I thought he did a really good job where I just didn't need that extra like treatment done. So if you are looking into getting something like this done, definitely do your research, look around different doctors and different reviews and different like places that you could get it done. As for pricing, it really also depends on where you live and all that stuff. And bottom line, the whole point of this video is I wanted to share with you guys my experience, and I wanted to let you know to also be mindful of things that you're getting done, especially on your face. I know that sometimes a lot of people portray piercings as being less harmful than tattoos, but honestly, they're both like, you know, the same thing. I know tattoos are more permanent, but sometimes piercings can have a permanent effect on yourself as well. So just be mindful. And honestly, lesson learned, your parents, your guardians in your life, they always just want what's best for you, and they always know what's right and what's wrong in your life because they've kind of like been there, done that, you know what I mean? I feel so much more comfortable in my own skin. For a long time, I was very insecure with this piercing, and whenever I didn't have it in and people would point out my scar and my hole on my face, it really made me even more insecure because I knew that it was very noticeable. So I'm just so happy that I was able to get it done. If you guys have any other questions regarding this, just shoot me a comment down below and I will try and answer it to the best of my ability. Like I said, I'm not a professional. This was just my experience and what I went through. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this chatty video. If you guys have ever had any like weird like procedures or anything like that, let me know, because to me, I have never heard of this. Like, I was trying to look up different things even on YouTube, and there was like barely anything, just like this video that I found. So it was really just like different for me. So let me know if you guys have had anything like unique done, because I would love to know about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.